Okay, so today, well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, doesn't really matter. So today I'm going to talk about a new product I want to launch for a company called Braza Magazine. I'm going to structure this conversation into seven main topics. First one, the mission, then how it connects the rest of Braza for a full Braza experience, then the editorial calendar, human resources needed, financial resources, the pilot edition, and finally benchmarking magazines. So the mission of the Braza magazine will be to engage the public to act by showcasing innovative initiatives led by Brazilians abroad. So the current scenario of Brazilian media is very dark and sinister, as you can see by the main magazines we have so far that control the overall media, almost like a monopoly, like led by Globo or Veja or Capital Letter. Yes, that is an actual magazine in Brazil. Because they try to bring in the most sinister and eye-catching news stories so that it will bring more views for them. But it isn't really what is most relevant, and sometimes it actually damages the public's mindset because they only see the things that actually hurt them, not the good things. So the magazine will strive to provide content to our audience that calls them to action. So now it is important to send for the next topic that well, as you all know, Brazil has three main branches. The first one is a perspective, which aims to bring the students into the best universities abroad and prepare them through the SATs, TOEFLs, and connecting them mentors that can help them through the process. Then we have the university branch, which develops the students to become the future leaders of Brazil inside the university by providing conferences or summer internships in Brazil, or even mentors for their they're in high level positions in Brazilian society. And then our third branch is the alumni branch, which connects the students who did pass through this experience abroad and they're back in Brazil. Not only students, but people who are already in the business force, and keeps them together in a network so that they can actually make amazing things together. And we also have outside those three branches, we have the membership department, which strives to connect those people and bring them in contact with their products. The Braza magazine, in this case, it would be analogous to the membership department, to be outside those three main branches, but interact very closely to all those three other branches and the membership, of course. It'd also be very, very important because not only will be um, content creation, so to be bringing content to our public, but also be a way for us to interact with the grad students in the U.S. or abroad or whatever, so that they will be the ones creating the content, so they'll be able to feel that Braza magazine is more of a part of them because the grad students will be the ones that will be most closely interested in this initiative. Third topic is editorial calendar, which consists of six main phases. The first one would be the selection of the theme, so that the entire magazine would be covered inside this one overlying theme. The second step would be the choosing the correspondence through a pitch process that I'll describe later. The third step would be a research period of about where the students or the correspondents would find the people to be important for this topic and compile this information so that they can write their articles, because it's very important to us that each piece or article has at least three outside sources so that it is more enlightening and more fact-based. Then we have two periods of editing where the students will, or the correspondents, sorry, they'll be writing their articles, and then we'll be editing them to make sure that the language corresponds to the overall language of Braza magazine and all pertains to the same thing. And finally, we have the publishing period, or be publishing and putting it out for the public. The third topic the fourth topic is the human resources that will be needed for this initiative. So the human resources will initially be only three people that will be running the magazine. Me as a chief editor-in-chief, which I also serve as chief communications officer. My overall role is to oversee the entirety of the workflow of the magazine and make sure that all the organization is set for a good flow for the magazine, and they correspond to the rest of the products in Braza. And we will also have the managing editor, which will be hired, and his main goal will be to assist the correspondents in good practices in journalism and enforcing the editorial calendar. And then we have the creative manager, whose main goal will be to design all the artistic side of the magazine. So all the way from the cover thing to photo shoots and also to the overall layout that will be presented to the public. And lastly, we have the correspondence, which will be developed, which will be chosen in this pitch process that is made in the second step of the editorial calendar, in which in this pitch process, we will release to the public what is the thing that we want to decide on, and and people will be able to apply with their own ideas for articles that correspond to this theme, so that those articles, they will be pertaining to the topic. That the article would be, we would pick about from 10 to 12 articles that would be in correspondence to the overall theme. And it's important to know that we'll be having 10 to 12 students picked, because there is usually a high drop rate, about 50% from other magazines we researched on. So we want, even though the ideal size is about 5 to 7 pieces for each magazine, we want to have a larger based students, so that if some of them drop out, we still have enough content to release a magazine. And for financial resources, initially we don't have any, assuming that we keep it in digital format. Yes. And then now for the sixth point is the pilot edition. The first edition will be only written by the 3 staff of Brazen Magazine, me, the managing editor and creative manager, which will be a form for 1, so that we can actually understand how the correspondence will feel throughout the entire editorial process. Because it's important when you're leading any form of business, that you understand how the workers feel, so that when we're actually leading them and managing them, we understand how hard or easy any of those steps are, and able to manage them better. And also, so that this would be like a simpler pilot edition, but just so that the public, they'll be able to know what we're aiming for, so that when they're applying for this, they know what they're getting themselves into. And finally, for the benchmarking magazines you want to use, first of all is These 50 States, which is a student-run magazine in Yale University, and they're good for benchmarking because of how lean and mean they are. They only have 7 people in their board, but they've been running for 3 years already consecutively, and our pitch process was based off on their pitch process. That they keep their staff very short, but they have a large number of correspondents coming in, so it brings more engagement to their magazine. The second one is Halt Think Tank, which, even though it's not a physical magazine, but it's also a form of media, and their main motto is think, solve, and share. So that they're also a magazine that aims to not only inform, but also to bring their public to act. So that's where it's useful as a form of benchmarking for us. And finally, we have Yale Daily News, which is the most prestigious student-run newspaper in the world, and they are referenced for their professionalism and how well they manage their resources. So they're also important for us in this matter. And yeah, so that's Brazen Magazine. So now I'm open for questions. Thank you.